good Monday evening to you. It is weather for Weather Geeks time after a warm weekend and a warm Monday. We do have finally some changes in the pattern to talk about in the coming days and even the next couple of weeks. But first off, this evening, let's do a quick review of where we were today, temperature-wise and weather-wise. We had a veil of high clouds around from time to time today, making for kind of a milky sky, but it was a very pleasant day. And ho-hum, yet another warm and somewhat muggy October day. It seems like we've been in August now for about 90 days. 78 was our high this afternoon. That's 14 degrees warmer than average. Our overnight low was also 14 degrees above the average. 44 is par for the course here on October the 11th, but 58 was the temperature at daybreak this morning. All right, this graphic shows the temperatures compared to average for every day of the year so far, and we're in the middle of a pretty impressive stretch here of warmer than average temperatures. Now, this factors in both highs and lows. This is not the most anomalously warm stretch that we've had, though, in 2021. Now, we beat this out in March. A couple of spikes here in March where, when you factor in the highs and the lows, we had a couple of days with temperatures around 26 degrees warmer than average. Early April also had a nice stretch of warmer than average temperatures. By the way, the biggest cool anomalies for the year so far, right around Mother's Day. If you remember, we had like a 34-degree day with some wet snow and icy rain on Mother's Day. So compared to the average, that ended up being, so far, the coldest day of 2021 so far. All right, veil of high clouds around for a time this evening. The sky will actually go mostly clear tonight because, while this looks kind of intimidating on the radar, this low-pressure system and attendant cold front is going to weaken quite a bit over the next 12 hours or so. So while there is a severe weather threat this evening in Illinois and far northwestern Indiana, we're not expecting that to translate much farther to the east. It's stormy out west. Notice we have some blue for one of the first times this season. I'm showing you a radar with blue on it. We've got some high elevation snow in the western U.S. It's raining around Las Vegas this evening, and temperatures in Vegas this evening are very similar to what we have in our region, upper 60s and lower 70s. Even Phoenix is not that warm by Phoenix standards, 87 degrees this evening. And up in the higher terrain where we have the snow, Idaho Falls at 36, Billings at 34. So, despite how warm it's been here, the seasons are gradually changing across the northern hemisphere. It's just taking a long time to happen in the eastern parts of the U.S. So again, this cold front comes through with very little fanfare tomorrow. There might be a passing shower or two. That should be about it. If you have plans tomorrow to be outside, if your job involves working outdoors, I don't think you're going to be dealing with a lot of wet weather, but a quick 5-minute shower, something that can't be ruled out. I think Wednesday will be kind of a similar day to today. We might have some high clouds around from time to time, but a nice day. We'll get into the middle, and in some places, upper 70s on Wednesday. And then another fairly weak front approaches on Thursday, and this is another day in which there could be a stray shower before the day is through. But beyond Thursday, stronger system comes through, and that will bring us elevated chances for wet weather Friday and especially into Saturday. I suspect Friday the showers are of the hit-or-miss variety at this point, but then Friday night into Saturday we have a better chance of it being a borderline washout. There are some model differences as far as the end time of showers on Saturday. Some of the modeling is pretty progressive and gets it out of here by maybe early afternoon. Some of the modeling at this point, 5 days out, is slower and keeps the threat for rain all the way through the afternoon and into early in the evening. So stay tuned. A Saturday in October, no doubt we have many weddings across the area and things people want to do outdoors, and that's an important forecast for many on Saturday, so stay tuned. We'll be updating the timing of the rain, of course, as we get closer to the weekend. We're going to stay well above the average through Friday, but after peaking in the upper 70s on Thursday, by Friday and especially into Saturday, we're seeing that step down. And then, boom, finally, it's going to look and feel like October should by Sunday and Monday. Low 60s sounds very chilly, right? Well, by Sunday and Monday, that's about average. Our average highs are around the lower 60s by the end of this weekend into early next week. So even though we have a cool down coming our way, check out today's 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. There's no blue on this map anywhere in the lower 48 except for parts of California. And so this is a pattern that is going to be cooler than the current pattern we're in, but abnormally cool? No, it does not appear that way. That being said, a little long-range discussion this evening, showing you a graph here. This is what we call the Pacific North American Oscillation off the European model. This is an oscillation or an indice which tends to indicate where a ridge of high pressure may try to set up along the west coast. And typically if you have a ridge along the west coast, then downstream of that you have a trough in the central and eastern U.S. that can bring us some cooler weather. When the PNA, the Pacific North American Oscillation, is positive, when it's in the positive phase, that means that that ridge is trying to build along the west coast. Right now the PNA is very negative, so the west is stormy, the east is warm. But as we go through time here, notice the model makes it positive starting by early next week and taking us into the following week. So that would indicate that the pattern will favor some cooler interludes across the eastern U.S. And this is another oscillation we like to look at called the EPO, the East Pacific Oscillation. The PNA, when it's positive, we tend to be cool. The EPO, when it's negative, we tend to be a little bit on the cool side across the eastern U.S. And right now it's pretty strongly positive, forecasted to go near neutral, maybe even negative in that same time frame as the PNA I just showed you. So the Atlantic weather patterns are not especially favorable for any sort of sustained abnormal cold, I think, during the second half of October. But things will be a little more favorable for cold in the Pacific and in the western United States for us as we go into the second half of the month, and especially, say, between the 18th and the very end of the month. So it's not going to stay in the 70s forever. You know, this extended summer, it's going to end at some point, and we're starting to see the finish line of this pattern. A step down this weekend, certainly. Next week, probably nothing unusual for October, but beyond that, we might have a couple of pretty decent cool snaps mixed in with some fairly typical late October weather coming up in the longer range. We'll have more longer range thoughts in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. In the meantime, thanks for watching on this Monday evening, and have a great rest of your night.